is G-Line Gaming.
G2 and XLG are the champions of Americas and CM, but there is a bigger trophy here in Toronto. Today, they have to prove they've got what it takes to go all the way.
If you want to go on a lower bracket run, you'll only have one day you're not playing that matches are possible for the rest of this tournament. It is a very tough task, but momentum means a lot. And starting strong in these first lower bracket games could be the path towards that victory.
Yeah, and as we take a look at the OMEN map select, G2, they said it themselves, Vansili. They have a deep map pool. How do XLG handle this?
I think it's a great start to kick things off with Icebox for XLG, because you're looking at the numbers, and the big numbers being put up by their star duelist is a lot on his Jet. So to not have to go with this Neon Breach composition that they tried in their day one against Sentinels to fight fire for fire, I feel like this is a perfect map for them to just not necessarily pug it out, but to play some very comfortable roles, use that distance, and leverage Wargar to get those numbers up and that confidence for the series.
I'm super interested in what G2 are going to go into on their Icebox. They were playing a no duelist comp that they've honestly played for quite a while, just swapping the Taeho in. I expect they might stick to it and just one-for-one the Sova, but also, in my opinion, Icebox is still the most viable map for Taeho, even if I still think Sova's probably better.
I mean, we've seen it from Genji already. They were not afraid to stick to the Taeho. You got to think that, Vansili, out of everyone else in this tournament, it would make the most sense for G2 and Trent.
Yeah, definitely, and playing the Sova on that moment, I mean, he's played some great numbers on a Tail before, but switching to a Sova is still comfortable picks for them. We've seen what a Sova can do on his very map as well, especially in those big rounds when you have the ult up and the passive plays that you play around that Sova, and he's always going to be amazing droning for the team, rather, to allow for them to get that good space, which is why you probably trust a composition for G2 to not play a duelist, because now you're going to slow scale with the Gecko, with the Sova, trying to find that info.
And G2 is really good at that slow style, playing that control. And this is where Raga is going to need to be on his game all series. Because if he is taking liberties the way he did in CN, and don't get me wrong, his mechanics are incredible. He gets away with it a lot. But G2 is a team that I know will come in focused on not allowing him to do so.
And Vans, you spoke about this already in terms of midi. He's only played Breach so far for XLG. He can't be doing that on Icebox.
I don't think so, but if you even look at his past career, though, he's had some experience outside of Mateo, playing a little bit of a Sova as well. He's just trying to get into that comfort pick once again. But this is a big test and a big ask for him. You're going into this Toronto stage where you don't have that opportunity to get too much practice and reps in, so you also have to just be pristine when you're going into this moment.
Oh, G2, I love this team. We are locking Sage. We have gone so long without people playing this agent on this map. She is so strong. She is the best way to easily plant the spike, to easily win your retakes. I'm happy with that.
The thing is right now is that, yes, G2 is playing composition where you're having a stage for the plant, but Valen is playing Omen and your duelist is not really playing any duelist. So at this point, you're focusing on Valen to not necessarily open up as a duelist role, but to get that spot.
Well, the agents are logged, the players are ready, and there's only one thing left for me to do. Toronto, give a warm welcome to the bread and butter duo of VCT, Bren and Sideshow.
Yeah, let's get this one started then. Toronto, there's a certain energy in the air right now, I think. There's a certain energy because it's an elimination on the line with G2 versus XLG. Two teams that are wishing to go even further here, but one of them is going to be exiting far earlier than anticipated.
And there are so many things similar about these two teams. They're both Ascension rosters that have done so remarkably well, but teams that played the meta, who got the top seed in their region and then struggled massively in their opening match here at Toronto and failed to hit expectations. And I think you could say that about both squads, because no one really expected all of the top seeds to end up down here, and especially G2 and XLG yet to take a map. They're saying no Taeho, no win. That's what the people are saying back at home. But I think both of these teams are getting hit by that change pretty similarly.
Yeah. Hard-fought battle over towards A main as well. Conceded up by G2 nice and early. Looking like they want to try and play this one purely for retake. Full evacuation. Raga on his little perch. Dash is going to be fading away, but at least going to be able to try to get this plant down now. Util's going to be sent flying forwards. Wall up on top of it with the paranoia offloaded. It's all sweeping across the site. Not enough to try and push them back, and Midi going to get traded. Toppled. Towards the top there, Jonah P lurking slightly around to the side here, and there's that Sage coming into play. Jorgamo stinking, half onto the defuse. Win concert to G2. A pistol round in their back pockets.
Immediately, Valent's hyped up about that one. This is a big change to their composition, but both comps that they've played recently, both with the Gecko and now with the Sage, are focused around that retake style. Look at how much pressure the wall puts down, especially on the pistol. If you manage to save that wall for the retake on pistol, it's so difficult to get through. But keep an eye out for that once weapons come online as well. Once XLG have more ways of being able to deny. G2 played so heavily for retake against HyperX, but HyperX were always there, always with a game plan.
G2, ever methodical, just trying to vacuum up most of the orbs as well, denying XLG any chance of getting some value on their own eco. They bought 3 sheriffs across the board.
Take flight.
Heavy re-exploration through mid. That's just based on the turret going down earlier on. So now that they've pulled bodies into mid, XLG are trying to find this timing to go over towards what should be a bit of a softer site.
Happyway's going to be caught in through mid. And so is that. Nano Swarm's okay.
Midi going down there. Look at Nano really deep over towards yellow.
See the discipline though at G2. They're not willing to give anything up. Even Jonah P just slight pot shots, peeking off to the side. Everybody taking the right timings for it. A nice lead here for G2, and you can feel how much it means to them, I think, for a team like G2, where expectations are sky high for this squad. Expected almost to be finalists in terms of every event that they end up attending, especially at this point.
But they'd have to go perfect here through the lower bracket to even make another grand final, another opportunity to redeem themselves after a match that I'm sure they'll believe they should have won in Bangkok. It does feel like an angry G2, though, for these first couple of rounds.
Placing swarm grenade.
But now Rifle's back online. More opportunities to crack this retake setup that G2 appear to be playing. And the more that you play retake on the sites, the more that you can focus on defending through mid. So if G2 are going to play pretty soft on the sites themselves, that means that XLG should be denied these mid lurks that they appear to be looking for. As Coconut and Happyway were thinking about putting a bit of pressure mid this round. G2 have stacked 3 players over towards B. Currently clearing it out over here. As XLG take that space for an A exec instead. If they go back, though, towards Coconut.
Just spotting the legs. Coconut is falling asleep at the wheel. Osmos is going to be calling for his team. Reinforcements arriving. This is going to be a brawl. Bit of a tussle occurring out towards B main, yet somehow G2 is still ending up the winners of it. Paranoia uses that insurance policy for the exit of G2. As our rifle dropped down to the ground, Raga 0 and 3.
A rough beginning and a rough continuation.
Open access over towards the A side, though, trying to go for that plan. Swinging to the back, Leaf lucky to be alive. Just about backs himself away here. And XLG looking like they want to fight this one forwards, not defaulting back and away, already making the necessary adjustments against the Sage pick.
Remember, you can't allow Jorgamo to get into position to just put this wall down in front of the defuse.
Darts flying sky high, face out to the side, it's G2, plenty of bodies, plenty of action, still XLG, they have those rifles, tucked up closer towards the side, it's Whiffy! Beaver dropped, and Midi's next, it leaves it all just down a Happyway. It's Snappy. Does he need a bit more where that came from as well? Damage has definitely been done as well. Tucked to the side, though, 28 HP, is it enough to work with? Tap it on and running him down. Time is up. Valorant realizes it. XLG will be gifted that round. An expensive one at that.
At what cost? XLG put a round on the board. A Red Bull clutch in the end from Happyway. The sole player who's been playing up to expectation, I think, for this roster, that has a weight of a region on their shoulders. I guess up until the point the Wolves turned up to this event, started playing incredibly well. Happyway's been excellent, though. And he delivers for them once more. But their economy is going to be shattered. 3 Guardians, a must-win round again for XLG.
Poison orb emitted.
Jonah P just making sure to deal with a lot of that early util. G2 open up with the slow orb up towards top. Now the drone as well. Mo going exploring. There's a re-swing off to the side. And adjustments necessary. Calm and steady aim in the end.
It's always G2 driving the action here. They fought over towards B in the previous round. Now they're fighting towards A, and it just drives XLG into the opposite site. XLG need to find some way of disrupting the tempo. And the plant denied.
I mean, another one was dead, and they just sent the spike into his death.
Coconut.
Not long for the world.
Even if he got past Trent there, I don't think there was a chance that he was also getting past Leaf.
Refighting. A little bit deeper. Flash. Not really recoverable. Slow orb's going to be down. G2 still wants to play this one for the retake. And Jorgamo just taking that slight peek up from Kitchen into that angle. Middy's going to be dropped now. Just 2 left to stand against it, but swarms on every possible position. G2 have got their number, and Leaf is the one to be delivering that dagger to the back.
Thanks.
Monster play from Leaf. Perfect at reading the timing. And there is a safety policy. But G2 have been in complete control. Everything that they're doing here is forcing XLG into really predictable reactions. G2's game plan could roughly be summarized as we'll fight on one side of the map, we'll play retake on the other. And you just put the retake side has a little bit of plant denial, whether that's, you know, a nano swarm in this round, and suddenly XLG are slow. The reaction's not quite as fast as they would want. They can't take deep space on site.
Yeah.
And they're already taking attack timeout. And I think now is a good time.
Yeah.
Hit the panic button early here. Because Coach Foyer has got to get some more ideas into this squad. They've got to find ways of disrupting the game plan from G2. And they've also got to find ways of getting Raga online. This guy, when you look at the stats coming into the event, you can make arguments like, okay, he's in a bit of a weaker region. Okay, weaker region. Have you been seeing what Wolves have been doing at this event?
It's not an argument anymore.
I mean, you know, there's some level of an argument, but Raga has been dominant domestically inside China, absolutely tearing people into pieces. But that was in the previous meta where he was always set up with double initiator utility. And now we find XLG in a different meta, having to make a roster change right before this tournament, removing one of those initiator players and subbing in a player who can't communicate as well in English.
Yeah.
Which this roster, in case you're unaware, is a blend of English and Mandarin in terms of their communication. So once you sever that really delicate balance of comms, it's going to make it a lot harder for even a star player like Raga to shine.
We're seeing that, I think, in terms of the reflection. I mean, Raga's been putting his body on the line numerous times. Normally the setup goes the other way. Everything's being invested to make sure that he is empowered and has a great game.
I want to see you.
But yeah, when I was watching XLG play previously against Sentinels, he was running in first as Neon looking to get traded. That's not the guy that I was watching in China.
That's an eco round for now for XLG. Whatever was called into the timeout, adjustments to be made. Probably going to be taken into account a little bit later on. Jorgamo was willing to take these fights. He steps up to the mark. He's not shy at all. Big game player.
XLG might have been expecting that they got the site for free there. It's good to throw in a twist every now and then.
See it already. Spike's going to be attempted to plant there.
Spike planted.
Wingman will get this one down as well, so into the post-plant we go. But XLG, what have they got to really work with? Pistols, high ground position, pushed off and away. Happy Way not to be dismayed. Off to the side though, no accounting for it, and already just wall up into their face. And Pistols have to expend the entirety of the clip just to even stand a bloody chance. It's Heartburns already. It's overwhelming. Purely overwhelming. This is a G2 team. They've come here to play. They want no early exit.
And on an anti-eco like that, the escort the VIP and just get Jorgamo into position, whack down the wall, and it makes those post-plants really tough if you're planning to play away from the spike to any degree.
Enemy remaining.
And then if you're forced to play on-site, you're going to get hit by stuff like the Paranoia. Now this round, G2 have Sova ult for plant denial. Killjoy ult for retake. It only gets more difficult. XLG need answers and they need them fast.
One away from a variety of ultimates here. XLG could build towards them. Still have the Thrash as well in their back pockets.
Did they get the retract?
I think it's broken. Sounded like it was broken.
It was definitely aiming to be retracted, but it did make the sound line as if it was broken. There should be a 40-second cooldown there.
Anyway, the turret broken, reinforcements immediately coming. G2 looking to see if they can shore it up through mid. The question marks. This drone is going to be going straight down. Potentially broken early. Yep,
it's a good bait.
Takes it. It is that bait and switch! Happy way! He just whiffs it!
You can't lose that. He doesn't have the confidence to peek properly. Just sees the ponytail of Giacomo. And now they're making a predictable reaction again. Fast into the A site, hit by the lockdown.
Yeah, and it's going to be stunted. Pushed back and away as well into the arms of Jonah P.
Spike planted.
Plant is down, but two players have to stand against it. Do manage to block away. Jonah P from the picture, but that's an ult expended. Viva has let this one loose as the last player left alive, and the options dwindling now for any chance of winning the round, and they know it. G2, they're skipping, they're hopping, they're all over the place, man.
The 1v4 Sova ult. If that isn't desperation, I don't know what is.
Desperation or flustered, I'm not too sure.
But look at this game plan, I love it. You've got Coconut as the bait at the bottom of Tube. Happyway's already walked up to the window. They had a guaranteed kill there on Jorg that could have opened up the round, and they executed it poorly. Just a failure of mechanics, a failure of confidence. Showing that it's not just about the ideas, it's also about the attitude you bring into the game. And right now, G2 have come with anger, fury, a determination to win.
XLG, no respite for them. Knocked down to this lowers, and they unfortunately have to contend with a team that everyone was calling before this as one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah, I don't think there's another way of slicing it at this point in the year. It does look like G2, but, you know, if they lose this match, then suddenly all of those narratives get flipped on their head entirely.
Gone. Yeah.
It's a very different crop of teams that we've got here compared to Bangkok.
Waiting for the next round of the Viper Wall fuel to come up, and now XLG slowly creeping past the boundary. Dart into the back as well. Smoke to try and obfuscate as well. Cut off to the side. Jonah B. He's going to be holding this one back, and he's got help from the rest of his team. They collapse onto them. It's no remorse from G2.
Raga once again had to be the hero there, but he only had 3 knives by the time he was actually diving through that wall and trying to take the fight. Not enough. Couldn't be precise with the aim.
Enemy down.
And if you need, I mean, listen, we're watching it live in real time, but if you needed any more ideas about how one-sided this has been so far, just look at the KDs of some of the G2 players.
Yeah.
Leaf's 11-1, Jorgamo's 9-1, Trent's 7-1. 3 of them have only died 1 time.
Massive turnaround for a player like Leaf. Didn't have a great showcase in their last game. Sitting at the top now, and business is booming. Money in the bank is brimming, almost at cap here for G2.
And G2 have actually changed it up slightly. They're playing on with their Killjoy util.
There it is. Hold on, trying to play up onto one side. Don't think he's going to be punished for it.
Jorg is trying to get a Sage Wall so that he can land above their heads, but he's...
Wait a minute.
He's either missing it or he's not taking the timing.
Essentially biding his time as well. Tara, okay, drone broken.
That wall, if he hits it, gets him an angle to kill people who are crossing over to yellow.
XLG are trying to work the map a little bit here and trying to work some picks. Raga just steps up. Very long sight line, unable to get the kill there. A couple of stray bullets onto Leaf, but he just backs himself away on top of it. Now the lockdown is here. Happy way. Hoping to save it for post, I think. If they can get a free plant on, that would be ideal.
It's a good read.
Yeah.
They've taken down the Killjoy utility earlier on. And Trent, he's not going to invest the Sovereign for that. This round has got to be, it's a must-win.
It has to be.
It's a can't-lose kind of situation.
Investments they've got as well, but Raga's been dropped as well, but potential rifle spam, I think, through the wall. It might have just caught him. Unaware. Smokes are going to be dropped down now with a dart towards the back, but again, the pit obfuscated, hides a lot. It's a blight onto the side here. Wall needs to be broken in time. Portion of it is Giacomo! My God! Jumps up and over, tap onto it, and it is just rooting out. The last remaining player of Coconut did not stand a chance. Your opponent plays out like that. Confidence is sky high for G2.
What a beautiful play from Jorg. That's absolute brilliance. The Sage Wall over the top, and then he hops up, drops behind players he knows are going to take a timing. That's not just a must-win round for XLG, that's one that you really can't lose. Inside the Viper's pit, still double ults to be able to work with.
I know.
They could have still had people dropping back and at least using Thrash in that situation. But they believed in the ult and couldn't get the timings on the players. 7-1.
It's only going to get much harder. G2 ulted their own as well. Pit down over towards B. Removes one of the avenues that XLGs can work. Now, they've been breaking the turret up through mid quite often, so Leaf has been forced to adjust his setup up.
I mean, it looks at the moment like we're going to get Happyway into position over towards Pipes, which is a good position for a lockdown. The problem is, you have a Sova ult that can just come through and deny this. So these two ults from Happyway and Trent kind of cancel each other out. And they're hoping that's going to make a distraction for this mid push.
Yeah, 3 players up through mid now. XLG looking to pounce. That's an updraft dash all the way around to the side. And Jorgamo caught unaware, still not dead though. And the players are dropping.
Spike down mid.
It's XLG with a cheeky idea. Something to try and turn the tide of the way that this map has been going. But G2, bit of luck in a draw, of course, is being played. But I don't know. XLG have been handed opportunities to get kills. They've just been missing them.
That Sage Wall reaction from Jorg just completely blocks the spike into mid.
30 seconds
but I would have liked to see XLG take a timing after Trent had already invested the ultimate. Wait for the Sova to be stuck inside of his ult.
One last player with a gun out.
And now in a 2v5, this round is impossible.
It's cooked. 15 seconds left. Spike's out of reach. It's a pure save.
It's the most out of reach it could possibly be on an Icebox attack round.
Left.
The spike going through mid. And these two players left in A.
Oh, hunted.
Flawless.
Not even a gun.
Breath, man. Not even a gun to be saved. Flawless here for G2. It's been the case so far, almost the entirety of this map.
Another example of XLG having a nice idea but failing to execute on it. They did even get the picks, you know, or at least get an opportunity for the picks through mid. But I think their timing was too fast. They didn't wait for that distraction to come through and make it really feel like they were hitting the site from A. Are we keeping it simple for the final 2 rounds? At least on the eco here. Looks like XLG are just going to send it.
Try and send it though. The slow has been going up towards Belt. Almost every other round the Jorgen has been playing it. Slows down the initial approach. They can flash up and over. The weaponry is not ideal. That's going to be broken here.
And when one team has so much confidence, it's just a single player holding B. Because they're never worried.
Not push back really at any point. Ults are ready to be expended. They want to, and the angle just not quite cleared. At least it was, he thought it was.
Yeah, he peeked screens a couple of times with that Marshall.
Yeah.
And Valen peeks with the drone. Raga's got to be thinking about that. He's 3-10 right now. A brutal beginning, but so reminiscent of their first match here.
It's hard to watch in some ways, to be honest, at this point, G2.
Jorg's waiting for a player to res. No one's died in a while.
No, just pulling it out for the fun of it here. Paranoia sweeps. Blinded up onto the 2 of them. XLG stepping up. They need a few stray shots, and it's just stray shots straight through the wall. Still Viva will answer back. Instantaneous of the res. Jorgen's been waiting a hot minute for that one. Viva finally dealt with, dropped. He's done the damage. Mini from below. Sheriff in hand has only so much. Just down a happy way. Can he pull off a miracle? It's unlikely. The discipline of G2 just rearing every single time.
Spike diffused.
Sentinels were saying after they played against XLG that they respected them, they were a good team, but they thought that they were slightly easier to play against because they played a standard game. And I think that's one of the things that I really respected watching XLG play domestically. They played to the meta, they played good ideas, but if the execution isn't quite there, and you're playing against squads that have they're comfortable in what you should be doing, in what the expected play is. Yeah, G2 are currently just tearing it to pieces. Even the more creative stuff is getting utterly dismantled. And this feels like a last hurrah for XLG as they head over towards B. Can they at least apply a curse? I mean, a 9-3 maybe. But they'd have to play better than currently in order to get to that spot.
They need anything they can get. Valorant's going walkabouts of an operator in this hand, man, at this point. Why not?
I don't think Midi has used the Thrash all game. Can we get a Gecko ult out here and apply some pressure onto people, get into deep positions on the sites, set Raga up somewhere where they're not going to be hunting for him?
Through mid. Drone spotting a happy way. He can exit here if he wants to, but I think just feeling the pressure to at least get a ping, anything to turn the tide of the way that this has been going. And here it is. Hunter's Fury, Thrash, suspended up over towards the B side and catching into his sights. Leaf, watchful eye onto his adversary.
And Coconut pushed up to danger completely on his own. Raga actually one of the most passive players in his positioning.
Fully cleared out. It's just up to Raga. Last one left. Gonna see those heroics. Makes a decent go of it. But a go of it doesn't earn you a round.
And the coordination there is massively off for XLG. You can talk a little bit about Happy Way and whether or not he should have expected that corner after he got pushed off in mid. But the players on B had a Thrash to try to work forwards, and it was only Coconut who took any space. Coconut pushes up to danger. He gets caught.
Yeah.
Unlucky, you could argue. But where's the rest of the team?
Some of the loudest cheering I've heard, actually. There's 10-1 here, G2. One more round. What's left here in the first half of Icebox?
And you're going up against the Operator on one side, the Outlaw on the other. 3 players on light armor. And a half that looks unrecoverable.
Jiggle Jorgamo. Sole defender over towards A. Many angles of which he can be spotted at, and yes, he is plucked out of the picture.
Pays a little bit there for the hubris of holding such a out in the open kind of angle.
Lockdown's going to be expended nice and early though. This is what Leaf looking to try and push them back and away. Raga overstaying his welcome.
And remember now, Jorgamo dead, that means no Sage Wall to be able to get that easier diffuse off. So a lot of it's around the smokes.
Paranoia is perfect. Raga, that's instinctual. Right click with a knife and he's stepping all the way up and through. Finally though, dismissed and dealt with. Quick little peek though, toppling, and as the mollies are going to be going up and over, this could be the best chance in a long while. XLG, still Leaf, watching for it. Too many bodies though, and a bit of spam does the job. 10-2. It's the scoreline of what we're looking at.
Switching sides.
A difficult half, difficult to watch for XLG, difficult for them to even get their feet underneath them. Absolutely dominant opening for G2, who I think have come into this with a lot of anger after losing 2-0 as the #1 seed from Americas.
You can say I'm happy sad. I'ma miss the time that we never had. Wishing that you told me you were down bad. Hard to remember what we used to have. What we used to have, yeah. Oh. Doesn't even matter, yeah. Oh. You're always trying to fight it, yeah. Oh. But the truth don't matter, yeah. Oh. I can see behind your eyes and you know me. I don't tell lies no more, no. How did you get into my homes? I don't miss the old days. I can see behind your eyes and you know me. I don't tell lies no more, no. How did you get into my homes? I don't miss the old days. I can see. I don't tell no more. I don't tell no more.
Well, this has been a brutal slapping around here from G2. I mean, a team that wanted to get onto the right foot now that they've been dropped down into the lowers and can't really ask for a better first half in this matchup here against XLG. Here's your Coinbase econ report.
And look at Leaf. I mean, he has had a spectacular resurgence. These are the kind of games that he loves, where he can just run around on defense, take the timings, push out, abuse the lurker on the other side, and buy the outlaw whenever he likes in order to punish the other team's economy too. This is more of what I was expecting from him in their opening game. He didn't quite live up to expectations there, though I think Trent did, despite the fact that he's had to move off the Tejo. But definitely a player to keep your eye on now that we're heading onto the attack side too. Because Leaf will crack open mid if things get complicated, but if I was G2 here, I'd be trying to stick as simple as possible. Yeah. Everything's been working. Absolutely everything. So no need to overcomplicate stuff. Now, having said that, I mean, maybe this is just a play for the turret, or maybe they're going to do an A split, which would be unusual.
There's a play for the turret, pre-firing, pre-aiming, I should say, up towards top boiler, but it's a different spot.
Yeah, it's an unusual position, actually, for the turret here. You see it in a position where it covers the window.
Deploying drone.
The presence shown here by XLG.
And a pretty similar game plan, right? Where they're going to fight over towards B, they're going to try to get information there and play a retake style on A where they have a bit of plant denial. It could be straight out of the G2 playbook.
All up and over, a bit of spam to try and break this one early, but not in time. Still stands for now, plant up towards the top. Rapid approach, this is from the flank, and it's all going to be heard and received by Trent. Surely going to be common, he's just holding for any extra element that might be coming out through that one, and he's still tucked, so he is safe in this possible position, and now sees it off to the side. That's just a classic in hand. Raga has been dealt with, taken out. Now it's up to Leaf to try and step up to it and see if he can hold this one back here, and losing control to the flank. And the players are dropping like flies here. G2, not sure which way they wanted to look. Barrel sticking out, matters not for Coconuts. Just rips the head clean off the shoulders of Trent. A pistol round win for XLG.
I said to keep an eye on Leaf as we head into this half, but I was expecting him to get the value, not to get shut down. That flank came straight into him. He dodged the dizzy, and yet Midi still swings around the corner, ghost in hand, and one-taps him in the head. Really big value there from the substitute player on XLG. That allowed the flank to thoroughly come through into sight. And the rest of the players on G2 got surrounded.
They need a bit more of that. Keep the energy up. Spirits need to be lifted. The pistol round win.
Yeah, but look at this. Anytime you cut one head off the Hydra, suddenly the Stingers all pop up. And even Jonah P with a Spectre. That's the wrong gun, buddy. What are you doing with that in your hand?
We've seen G2 rip the unsuspecting. Tear them apart with the Stingers in hand. Peeks off to the side here with the Outlaw.
The Outlaw's a great purchase.
Yeah, it's shown. Jonah P looking up through mid. There was a chance of the timing there for him. Lee just snaps right up top.
Oh,
Midi's got the peaks of his own. And everybody feeling like they have to be the hero in a moment like this when you're down to this extent. Snapping up to the side. That's two shots required at G2 overwhelm. They swarm the back of the side. Coconut, it's the last one left to do it. And it's too much to overcome G2.
That little play where Jorgamo takes contact on the Outlaw, takes 140 damage, and wastes essentially Raga's shots. And the rest of the players with light armor Stingers come in afterwards. Jorgamo was essentially playing a tank. He's running the Sage tank build. He's designed to just absorb Outlaw shots and let the rest of his team trade him out. A beautiful idea to counter the Outlaw, which itself was supposed to be a counter to the Stinger force buy. And G2, they're back in the ascendancy.
I mean, he didn't buy a weapon last round. It was just a full armor and a classic.
Yeah, he knew what his job was.
Yeah. And just like that, wind out of the sails here for XLG.
Yeah, if they had a hope, it does appear to be dashed against the rocks.
It's a deep dart against the back wall here, Leaf. Might be getting pressured at a moment's notice. Backs himself away to a safer position.
But XLG, having heard nothing on A, are not really rotating defensive players around to try to catch G2 where they might be. Instead, looking to push out. This could be a clash, because G2, VALORANT is calling for them to go back into this site.
Yep. That's a deep drone, though. That was going to be offloaded nice and close, so G2 are aware that they pushed up deep through A main. What's the call now? Re-clear it out or go in a different direction? In through mid. Happy way.
If he just stayed where he was, he would have heard so much information.
Just getting antsy.
I think your comment, everybody feels like they have to be the hero right now. It's so accurate. When you're down like this and none of your standard ideas are working,
30 seconds left.
you feel like you've got to take more and more risk.
Stepping forwards, Raga cheeky with the shot. The flash does connect, but Smoke's going to be obfuscating, blocking. Any chance for XLG to capitalize on the back of it? Still, it is 4 versus 4. Plan is down. Now for G2. One chin up through, just spots it, and okay. Scope is optional, at least for Leaf now, and he's going to be making sure that he can stay posted up onto this position. Catching it, and you never expect this one. You never expect it at all. Sprayed down.
No one.
G2 find themselves to 12.
One final opportunity here for XLG to try to stabilize themselves, but there are 9 chances for G2 to close this out, and they've barely needed more than a first opportunity, a first chance in any of these rounds.
No one.
They came into this so hyped up. The adrenaline was at a max for G2. When they won the pistol at the very beginning, they were losing it.
All laughs now, though.
Or was it round 3? Anyway, whenever they won that first round.
Oh, there's just nothing going right for XLG here.
No, happy way, even the movement. He ends up tripping over his shoelaces, gets caught there by Trent. The ults are good, and it's the same trio from XLG trying to make something happen again. They pushed out A in the previous round, now they've gone over to B.
Trying to P. Oh, he's in transit, he's blocked by the barrels. Could have had an exit perhaps, maybe, but Middy's going to be dropping him nevertheless.
I mean, to be fair, it's a very new map, isn't it? Those barrels only just got recently added.
A lot of changes to Icebox recently, so.
4v4.
Right. Rifles in the hands for XLG, and they're stomping, they're marching. They know it's the last lifeline here for them on Icebox. Time to make a go of it once more. Stepping forwards here with a flash, that's a bit of an indicator close to the corner! What are you doing? Cycling the util. Giacomo is let loose and unleashed, and leaves it down to Coconut in a 1v2, all for the map, all here and now. Tonight, that last chance, and all 13-3 is how Icebox is going to be sealed up here for G2.